Top 5 things Gerry Bohanon brings to USF. Gerry Bohanon, the latest big transfer, and of course came from here in Waco at Baylor to South Florida, where he will, it's USF. They don't call it South Florida anymore? We're not supposed to say that? Or is...
I don't remember. I know that UCF doesn't like being called, or UT San Antonio wants UTSA.
Yeah. So, but USF, what he brings to USF. Number 5, dual threat potential. He is a better runner than he is a passer, in my opinion, but he developed as a passer enough to make me think that over the next 2 years, with the right coaching, and Jeff Scott's coached some good ones, Deshaun Watson among them, just very recently, to make me think that he and Gerry can have a nice relationship on down the line of developing that and making him better. Remember, Baylor fans seem to even forget this. Last year was the only year we saw Gerry Bohanon in enough to know anything about him. Everything else he did before was kind of spot duty and, backup work, and nothing that you would think like, man, this guy's going to be something. It's just like, oh, he's a really good athlete. But what he does bring to the offense, and what we saw last year, was an ability to get away from the pass rush when things do break down, which it didn't all that last year, and an ability in the quarterback run game to kind of call any quarterback run you want.
Eric Galko tweeted this out after the news came out he was headed for USF. Former quarterback he has real NFL. Now, I've seen Travis Reeder say this too, NFL talent, which people can debate that all they want. Thoroughly impressed in 2021 with great touch, placement, and timing. Got stronger this offseason, and I was impressed at Baylor's Pro Day. That's from Eric Galko, who's a part of OptimumScouting.com.
Yeah, and Gerry, of course, had to be the quarterback throwing to the guys at Pro Day, so that's why he was there. Number 4, a chance for Jeff Scott to recruit and develop a younger QB. Now, that could be a guy already on the roster, or that can be a recruit coming in, because now, again, 3 wins and 3 wins. Gerry Bohanon gives him that cushion to where he doesn't have to say, hey, Junior, you got to win this thing for me right now. Gerry can give him that cushion, and he's been through enough to where if the season does get off to a rocky start with that schedule, Gerry can take it. Right. That's where a younger quarterback might be broken forever.
Yep. I don't know who this kid is, the young man, and he might be, who knows? I mean, he's not just given the job, but you're not going to go there without at least having some conversation. He's got to go earn it, but absolutely gives, if the younger quarterback will understand that.
And it may not be, it might be the
gratification.
It might be the next guy that gets exactly to benefit from this. Yeah. But it'll give Jeff Scott, especially if they win a little bit more this year and get those 3 wins, it'll give him that bubble to develop a quarterback for the future, as opposed to having to throw a true freshman in, Mr. Florida football or not. I mean, you're kind of swimming upstream with a very young, inexperienced roster. Number 3, experience in big time games. Yeah, he didn't play in the Big 12 championship game this year, but he did have to step in and play in it in dire circumstances the first time that Baylor went to it. Then, when you talk about beating Oklahoma, beating Texas, doing all the things that he did last season, played in a really tough atmosphere in a game they didn't play very well at Oklahoma State, but still played in it, fought hard to the end. He has played in some big-time environments that a lot of the guys on the USF team have not played in.
No.
So he can bring that to them because, what big-time game have they been in the last couple of years?
He's been in some big stadiums, big crowds. Of course, some of the most impressive wins last year were games at home.
The Sugar Bowl, I mean, not his best game, but he was still there. Like, he has those battle scars from the Sugar Bowl and can get better from them. Number 2, just stability. They don't have to go back and forth on who it's going to be. It's Gerry. He's the quarterback. You can go. And it's stability for him. Because like I said earlier, for Gerry Bohanon and Blake Shapen, and this might not be to say that Kyron Drones doesn't get some time this year and impresses people to where that might be Blake Shapen's life in the future, but at least with Gerry and Blake here at Baylor, whoever was not the starter, the quarterback battle wasn't going to end when the starter was named.
No.
It was going to continue to go on because if one of them had a bad game or got hurt, was out for 3 weeks, the other one played better, all those things were going to continue happening. So this had to happen for whoever lost the job, so to speak, it's stability for Gerry, it's stability for USF, and that they don't, as long as Gary's healthy, have to go back and forth and kind of crapshoot it with, a true sophomore, a true freshman, transfers that are not nearly as accomplished as Gerry. So I think he brings that to them a lot.
You would hope. I mean, if he's got to still go earn that job, but you would think that that's not anything guaranteed, but it brings the roster stability as well.
Number one, leadership. And
no question.
I know that he wanted to go somewhere and start, but it says something to me about what we already kind of knew about him, in that he's picking a team that's got back-to-back 3-win seasons. He could have gone to Missouri. They're better. He could have gone to Liberty. That team, loses Malik Willis, is going to need a new starting quarterback. They're set up to be pretty good in their conference and win games. He is choosing to go into a place that needs leadership and needs somebody like him to fight through it. And that tells me a lot, because he had offers apparently from Oklahoma. That
was something that Joey Knight brought up. That Oklahoma was interested.
But I mean, he can go there, and of course he'd been in the same situation he left, which would make sense. But you could go there. There's several places you could have gone that are better off right now, at least coming out of last year, than USF is. But And he's been nothing but a great leader here. He wasn't fazed by Blake Shapen and all of that. He knew that was part of it. And I mean, he brings that to USF, and something that, again, it can give the younger guys time to learn about being a leader.
There's a great picture of Gerry Bohanon hugging Blake Shapen after the Big 12 championship game, after the win. He was as thrilled for Blake Shapen as anybody that was on that team, and that's not always the case. There's always some things that could occur. Now, that's whether it would have drawn out this year that way, we don't know. But I think Gerry Bohanon and Shapen both are pretty good people. All right, Paul, good stuff. In fact, on the chat room, Scotty B, love the top five. Matthew, I'm glad